I can also be having the greatest time and simultaneously wishing people would stop sending me death threats.
What started as a fairy tale just turned into Hollywood's ugliest breakup. Gal Gadot, Disney's own evil queen, is now allegedly exposing Rachel Zegler for being a complete nightmare on the Snow White set. From rewriting the script to silencing the crew, insiders say Rachel wasn't just acting like a princess. She acted like she ran the entire kingdom. And Gal, she finally had enough. Behind the scenes, Gal Gadot was calm, professional, but reportedly boiling inside. Sources claim she privately called Rachel difficult, controlling, and completely obsessed with her own image. One insider said she told producers, "This isn't empowerment, it's a meltdown in progress." It didn't happen overnight. Tension started on day one of filming. Rachel allegedly arrived with notes for scenes that hadn't even been shot. She insisted on changing lines, modifying key character beats, and pushing for scenes that better reflected modern values. Gal, a veteran of blockbusters and global press tours, tried to keep the peace, but insiders say the constant interruptions, inflated ego, and non-stop agenda eventually pushed her over the edge. She stopped showing up to rehearsals with Rachel. She requested separate glam teams, and according to a production staffer, she once left set early because she couldn't take another day of fake girl power speeches. Things got so tense, Gal allegedly refused joint interviews, no shared press, no red carpet hugs. And this wasn't just a diva tantrum, this was a calculated withdrawal. Gal was sending a message without ever raising her voice. She didn't want to be seen as the villain, but she wasn't going to let her own reputation burn just because Rachel wanted to rewrite a 90-year-old fairy tale. Because what she saw behind the scenes wasn't royal, it was reckless. And Rachel wasn't just annoying, she was rewriting the entire script. Crew members say Rachel Zegler treated the set like her personal stage. She allegedly interrupted the director mid-scene, rejected wardrobe that didn't align with her message, refused to shoot romantic moments unless they were cut down or reworded. One staffer described it as walking on eggshells in a tiara. What was supposed to be a classic reimagining of a beloved fairy tale turned into a one-woman identity project. Rachel didn't just question direction, she challenged authority at every turn. Costume designers were reportedly asked to justify why Snow White wore a dress. Hair and makeup artists were told not to make her look too pretty. A scene featuring a woodland dance was allegedly scrapped because Rachel said it felt too happy for a girl with goals. One assistant recalled, "We'd shoot a scene, and by lunch, she'd already requested to rewrite the next one." It wasn't about acting anymore. It was about shaping an agenda, and for veteran crew members, many of whom had worked on huge Disney productions, it was exhausting. They'd seen their share of high-maintenance leads, but the consensus was clear. Rachel brought a level of self-importance they hadn't dealt with before, and when Gal tried to step in and mediate, Rachel allegedly brushed her off, saying she needed to stay true to her own voice. It wasn't collaboration, it was domination. She didn't want to play Snow White, she wanted to reinvent her, and that wasn't even the worst of it. Multiple sources confirmed Rachel pushed Disney to cut out the prince entirely. She wanted a solo queen narrative, no love story, no rescue, no dwarfs, unless they were reimagined as magical beings of diverse ideologies. At one point, insiders say she even suggested renaming them to the 7 empowerment archetypes. Each dwarf would represent a different pillar of strength: intellect, rage, compassion, resistance, you name it. She reportedly argued in meetings that romance was an outdated motivator and that the film should end with Snow White giving a TED Talk instead of finding happiness. The original fairy tale? Too passive, too romantic, too male adjacent. And the prince? Gone. Scrapped from early drafts. Pushed so far into the background, he was basically just a passerby with good hair. Sound familiar? That same creative takeover energy. It's exactly what Blake Lively was accused of on It Ends With Us, when she allegedly took control of casting, rewrote key scenes without director approval, and clashed with Justin Baldoni until the film's vision was unrecognizable. Both actresses, critics say, walked into collaborative environments and demanded complete authorship. They weren't just stars, they tried to become screenwriters, showrunners, and studio execs all rolled into one. And the results? Both films unraveled, both productions became PR nightmares, and both actresses, instead of championing women, allegedly alienated the very teams working to support them. One anonymous Disney creative put it like this: "We wanted to reimagine a classic. She wanted to erase it and put herself in the center of a brand new myth." Rachel didn't want to modernize Snow White, she wanted to own it. And the moment that became clear, Gal Gadot started pulling away. Because Gal didn't sign on for a political manifesto dressed in royal gowns, she signed on to make movie magic. And Gal Gadot wasn't sticking around for that. While Rachel twirled on TikTok, Gal disappeared. She never promoted the film, never posted a single picture with Rachel, never even used the hashtag. On the Oscars red carpet, Gal looked frozen. Rachel looked desperate. Fans called it the most awkward duo since Kanye and Taylor. Even in group press events, Gal kept her distance. She avoided eye contact, let Rachel take the mic, and the fall. On one panel, when Rachel launched into another rant about reclaiming princess identity, Gal visibly checked her watch. Clips of that moment went viral. People said, "That's not just boredom, that's a woman done pretending." Meanwhile, Rachel was in full damage control. Her TikToks featured solo dances, dramatic voiceovers, and "I believe in Snow White" captions that felt more like performance art than genuine excitement. She was spinning in an empty theater, holding merch no one wanted, while Gal was quietly removing Snow White from her Instagram bio, and fans noticed, big time. One viral tweet summed it up perfectly. Gal Gadot is doing what every woman does when the group project leader goes off the rails. She's clocked out. Gal didn't throw shade. She didn't clap back. She didn't need to. She let the silence do the talking. She let the numbers speak for themselves. She let the internet draw the line between a star and a spectacle. Behind the scenes, Gal had made her choice. Silence greater than support. And now we know why. Insiders claim Disney was furious about how the Snow White rollout turned out. They gave Rachel the keys to a billion-dollar brand, and she turned it into a lecture series. Executives tried to do damage control, but Rachel doubled down at every opportunity on calling the original film creepy, outdated, and dangerous to young girls. She didn't just critique it, she mocked it. In press interviews, red carpets, social clips, her tone was always the same: dismissive, smug, and too cool for the fairy tale that gave her a career. Gal reportedly warned them early, this press tour will backfire. He'd seen the tone Rachel was striking behind the scenes, the way she talked down to the legacy, the way she positioned herself as the savior of Snow White instead of a part of something beloved. But Disney thought it would blow over. They underestimated how much nostalgia meant to their core audience, and how fast that audience would turn the moment they felt mocked. They didn't listen, and now they're cleaning up a PR disaster. But this wasn't just about one film, it was about a bigger pattern. Rachel's not the only actress getting called out for this type of behavior, but she's becoming the poster child. Industry insiders say Rachel has Blake Lively energy, all about optics, control, and being seen as powerful, rather than actually delivering a powerful performance. It's a pattern Hollywood has seen before. Blake Lively allegedly steamrolled It Ends With Us, rewriting the script, sidelining the director, and reshaping the film around her public image. Now, insiders say Rachel did the same, but on Disney's biggest stage. She brought feminist buzzwords, but forgot the storytelling. She brought interviews, but not the humility. She came to reclaim Snow White, not honor her, and the worst part? It felt rehearsed. Every soundbite was so polished, so agenda heavy, it didn't feel like an actress promoting a film. It felt like a politician pushing a platform. Meanwhile, Gal Gadot, who's played Wonder Woman, a global symbol of strength and grace, saw it for what it was, branding over substance. Gal's style is strength and stillness. Rachel's strength through stomping on what came before, and that contrast couldn't have been clearer. Behind the scenes, the cast and crew reportedly gravitated toward Gal. She listened, collaborated, and respected the source material. Rachel, by contrast, was seen as combative, calculating, and completely unwilling to bend. It's no wonder Gal checked out. She wasn't going to risk her own legacy to prop up someone else's social campaign. She's seen it all before, and she wanted no part of it. And then came the crash. Snow White bombed. $300 million gone. Merch sales flatlined. Fan backlash hit hard. Critics called it Disney's biggest disconnect in a decade. Toy stores couldn't move the dolls. Theme park tie-ins were quietly canceled. Gal vanished. Rachel posted a TikTok alone in a theater, spinning in circles like like it was a victory dance. She called it a special night. The internet called it performance delusion. One user commented, "This is what happens when you make a movie for yourself, not for the people watching it." Except she was the only one clapping. No cast, no co-stars, no applause. Theaters were empty, but the comment sections were full. And in those comments, people weren't just mocking Rachel's performance. They were questioning the entire direction of Disney's future. And fans started connecting the dots. Gal never said Rachel's name. She didn't have to. She pulled support, pulled press. And her PR team made one quiet move. Removed Snow White from her upcoming project mentions. No reposts, no memories, nothing. She had walked off the battlefield, clean, elegant, and done. Insiders say Gal told her team, "There's a difference between being empowering and being exhausting." And according to one source, her experience on Snow White was the most mentally draining project of her career. This isn't someone who's new to fame. This is Wonder Woman. She's done global press tours, superhero reshoots, and world premieres. And still, this was the project that made her draw the line. When Wonder Woman distances herself, you know it's bad. And the industry took notice. Hollywood insiders are whispering. Fans are demanding receipts. And Rachel's team is scrambling behind the scenes to stop the bleeding. Even staffers are leaking stories. One saying, "Gal was the grown-up, Rachel was the storm." And it shows. So now the fairy tale ends where no one expected. Rachel Zegler tried to reinvent Snow White, but instead of building a modern fairy tale, she lit the old one on fire. And Gal Gadot, she watched from the ashes and walked away. But the real question is, did Gal finally expose the truth behind Hollywood's fake feminism? And is this just the beginning of something bigger getting exposed in Hollywood? Let us know in the comments.